The same girl over and over again. I've no doubt in my mind this guy was getting a lot of women back in the day. No doubt about it. But you get fucking sick of it really fucking quick. Really fucking quick. I don't care if you're 20 years of age, if you're 80 years of age. In fact, if anything, if you're 80 years of age, you probably want it more because you're getting older and you'd love to have the young one. You don't appreciate it when you're a young fella. Peter. Wow. Alright, ladies and gents, today, I just heard a few days ago, there's some guy who went on a date with some girl and he's tried to confess to her, sorry, confess is the wrong word, he tried to tell her that he slept with over 2,000 women. First of all, bullshit. He's 35, in fact, maybe he's either 35 or 36. This is what we're going to talk about today in the podcast, because you know what? I'm calling bullshit. And I'm calling major bullshit on this guy. That is the biggest fucking lie I've ever heard one of the biggest lies I've ever heard in my fucking life, guys. Seriously, there's no guy that has slept with 2,000 women. I don't care if you're Hugh Hefner. I don't care if you're a big movie star, Bradley Cooper, Brad Pitt, George Clooney. I don't give a fuck. Do you realize how much energy you'd have to invest and how much time you'd have to invest as well? We're going to go through all this today. And why am I doing a podcast on this? First of all, I thought it was hilarious when I heard about it. And I went, no, that's not a podcast, Peter. But then I actually said, do you know what? This is a fucking podcast. Because this isn't the first time I've heard of this. I've heard of guys that actually do go around and say, I've even heard straight from a guy, straight to my face, that he slept with over 1,000 women. And I went, wow, this guy's full of shit. Amazingly full of shit. And guys, it just goes to show you, whether you're a man or a woman, people can be full of shit. Don't believe everything you hear when people say something. And we're going to even take out the calculator here, okay? Because there's no way that this fucking guy has slept with over 2,000 women. And this is going to be a bit of fun here, I think. So let's look at this. So the guy is, I either said he was 35 or 36. Now, you know what we're going to do? We're even going to go 36. And we're even giving him an extra year. So in other words, that's an extra year of getting laid. Okay, so he's upping up the numbers as the years go on. We're even giving him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. First of all, if he's 36, let's say he did start getting laid at, let's say, 15 years of age. Okay? So 15 years of age. In fact, let's just make the math easier, actually. We'll go 15 to 35. That's 20 years of getting laid. So. Okay, number one. Let's say he went out drinking every weekend, or he went out on a date every weekend, and magically, every single girl he bumps into every weekend, he gets the lay. Alright, let's say he's just the most unimaginable charmer the world's ever seen. Alright? So, 20 years now. Let's go with the math here. So let's say on average, he gets one a week. So that's 1 by 52, obviously 52 weeks in a year, okay? So that's 52 weeks multiplied by 20 is 1,040. So, that really blows the 2,000 out of the water first off, okay? And again, that's averaging 1 a week, right? Do you realize how much effort it would take to get one girl a week? I don't care if you're the James Bond on steroids or the Marvel superpower of charm. You're not gonna get every girl. You're just not. Guys can get on a bit of a roll, or maybe the women get on a bit of a roll, right? Where you just, geez, for a couple of months you're just getting your lay all the time. Now, let's just say, we'll go with it. He gets the 1 a week, 52 weeks of the year, multiplied by 20, and he gets his 1,040 women. Now, here's the other thing, and I know this about players. A lot of the time, players can actually end up hooking up with one of these girls again. And think about it this way. Out of all the 1,040 women, don't you think that at least one of those women he would have been really attracted to and he would have wanted to see her again? So even if he sees her again, that's just wiping off another portion of women because he's spending time with this girl now, not getting laid, okay? Or let's say the girl wasn't even attractive enough for him, but yet she was unbelievable in bed. So I can guarantee you this, ladies and gents. Throughout his 20 years and his 1,040 women now, let's say, okay? We're going with that stat. He would have guaranteed to meet at least one of those type of girls. Either one that he just has an unbelievable connection to. We're going to add that one in. He's got an unbelievable connection to it. He wanted to see her again. Or she's unreal hot and he just wanted to see her just because she's unreal hot again. Or she's dynamite in bed. One of those three. That would have put a huge stop on his love life or getting sex. Because he would have wanted to see her again. He wouldn't have gone out on the Friday or Saturday night. Even if this was for like a couple of weeks, okay? And I know this. Believe you me, ladies and gentlemen. I know enough players. I used to be one. I still love my fun now. But I can tell you this. I know players out there too. And you know something? If you end up hooking up with one of those three girls, believe me, a guy will sacrifice a night out with the lads instead of finding some other girl. Okay? You actually will. Even if you don't want to end up with the girl, you don't want a relationship, and she's unbelievable in bed, or she's so incredibly hot, right? You're going to actually go for at least 2 or 3 dinner dates, right? Spend the night with her. Now, you could do this during the weekday too. Of course you could. But he wouldn't want to, because he wouldn't be into her, first of all, if he's not looking for a relationship. And you know what? If she's that good in bed, let's say, that option, he would have wanted to see her at the weekends as well. If she's that good. Because trust me, if he met a girl like this, and he was all about getting the lay off a stranger, that would have been his love, his passion, his goal. And he wouldn't have sacrificed a night at the weekend, or even during the week, because he wouldn't have tried to get close to her. So let's go with that, okay? So right there, and I can guarantee you this, even if he was Mr. James Bond on steroids here, even if he was getting the lay every weekend, like without fail, he would have bumped into not just one of these type of girls. Out of 1,000, he would have bumped into one of these type of girls in every 100 girls that he hooked up with. Guaranteed. And that's even being a bit stingy on it. He probably would have met one of these girls in every 50 girls. Maybe even less. Do you know what I mean? Like this, there's always that rule. 1 out of 10. You know, you can fail 90% of the time, but you meet 1 out of 10. So we're even giving him a bit of a benefit of the doubt here. 50 women, for every 50 women, he would have guaranteed bumped into one of these girls. So that puts a fucking strain on your sex life right there. Then also, do you realize how fucking much work this costs? Like, you'd want to be a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire, okay? Unlimited bank account, because if he was a guy who was a very career-driven guy, well, number one, he doesn't have the time and effort to be doing this during the week, okay? He'd be just like, right, let's get my shit done. And even if he was, do you realize how tired he'd get after doing this for like a month? Especially if he's like a real Trojan working guy. He works his bollocks off. He's up at 6 and he's fucking, in the gym at 5 or, in the gym at 6, whatever. And then he's back at work. He'd be working long hours. He wouldn't have the time. Or let's say he was like this inheritance kid where he just got all this money. Well, here's another thing too, and about kids who just have all the money in the world and they've got nothing to do. Do you know what happens? They get even more fucking lazy when they have nothing to do, and actually the life gets sucked out of them and they don't have the energy to do anything. You got to keep yourself busy. So like we're covering a lot of angles here. And you know what? I know guys, and I can tell you this as well. If you're getting your lay every weekend, and let's say you do it for 6 months, turns into a pretty empty fucking life after a while. And you get fucking sick of it. Too much of something is bad. Too little of something is bad too. And I can tell you, even if he was a sex fiend, like a sexed horn devil fiend, he just had to have sex all the time. Well, that's fine, because if he was that, he'd just pick some girl and stay with her. He wouldn't be going out and getting his hole every weekend, because even if he was, okay, cool, but then the real motivation is to just have sex. So he'd find that girl, one of those 3 girls who's just unbelievable in bed, stay with her, nice and simple, I'm guaranteed my lay, and job fucking done. And you get so goddamn bored of it. Like, you'd want to just go out for the weekend with the boys. And, you know, any of the ladies listening on this one, you girls know that, yeah, there can be one of these hot, handsome guys in a bar, right? And all the girls get to know him. All of a sudden, this guy starts dipping his toes into the waters here, right? And he starts hooking up with 1 or 2 girls. Guess what happens? You girls know this. Guys know this too. All of a sudden, word gets around. Now, some girls might get jealous and actually want to have this guy. But guess what happens then? Some girls really like this guy, and then they get pissed off, and then they're going to actually start bitching about this guy. Oh, this guy's fucking every girl, which, by the way, is very understandable, because, hey, you know what? If he's fucking everybody, well then, people should know. You know? So I'd understand that. And all of a sudden, guess what happens? Then, the woman is the slut, quote, slut. I'm not saying that you are a slut, ladies, but I'm saying, you know what I mean. Girls will then get the reputation of, oh, Nuala there now, or Jennifer, she hooked up with Peter there at the weekend. You're joking. Oh my god, she's a total slut. Then women don't want that either. So guess what happens? This guy's now totally fucked, because he's the town slut. He'll fuck anybody. And then if girls do fuck him, then the girls get a bad name. And like, this guy would want to be going city to city and staying out of that web of bitching about him back to him, right? Because word gets around. And not every girl wants the guy who's the James Bond charming whore bag. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's so full of shit. It's incredible. And here's the other part too, and I'm going to close off this, just a nice, cheap and cheerful, funny podcast I hope for you guys today. I'm loving this. Here's the other part too. If he really was a player, and if he really did fuck over 2,000 women, or even in this case, this guy here, the 1,040 women, right? 1 bird every weekend. I tell you this for a fact. If he was that much of a player and that good, he wouldn't tell the girl that he's on a date with. There's no goddamn way on this planet that guy is going to tell the girl on any date, whether it's your first date or your 1000th date with the guy. No one is talking about that shit. Believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, the guy would be keeping this under wraps. In fact, he'd be the complete opposite of telling anybody. He'd want to bury it, because he would know that word gets around. And then you'd have girls actually coming over to him, knowing that he's a slut, and actually fucking with him. Okay? Just totally fucking with him. All of a sudden they're playing a little game, then he's chasing them, all of a sudden, the girl's gone. There's a lot of that too. And that can put a strain on a guy too. And it can put a strain on the other way around if a girl's getting played around. Do you know what I mean? It can be stressful. So word gets out, this shit can fucking stick to people. There's no goddamn way a man on this planet is going to advertise that he slept with 2,000 women. Ladies and gents, I honestly don't believe even Hugh Hefner, okay? This guy had what, 7 bunnies. In fact, even when I was living in LA, I knew a girl who was one of the bunnies, okay? She was literally one of the 7 girls. She was in the limousine when Hugh Hefner jumped out of the car. All the photographers would stand there and they'd be taking photos, and he was in the middle, and if you remember, guys, you can Google this, you'd see all the girls side by side with him. She was one of the girls that I knew. And you know something? If, again, this is an if Hugh Hefner was actually shagging these girls, he's still shagging the same girl over and over again. Okay? The same girl over and over again. I've no doubt in my mind this guy was getting a lot of women back in the day. No doubt about it. But you get fucking sick of it really fucking quick. Really fucking quick. I don't care if you're 20 years of age, if you're 80 years of age. In fact, if anything, if you're 80 years of age, you probably want it more because you're getting older and you'd love to have the young one. You don't appreciate it when you're a young fella. Anyway, ladies and gents, the whole point of the podcast today, if any guy says that he slept up with over 1,000 women, full of shit. If he slept with over 2,000 women, you need to bring him to a mental institution right now and lock the fucker up. And hey, it just goes to show you that people can be so amazingly full of shit. It's incredible. And let's not rule this out either. There's a lot of women out there that can be full of shit as well and things. Don't believe everything you hear. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye.
Peter.
Wow.